And welcome back, everyone, to Box Office Report. Today, on the 15th of March, 2026. Did I get this right? I'm actually blanking on if I got this right. I don't think I got it right because I think I had Scream actually out of the top five or something along those. I think maybe I got the top three right because I think I got Hoppers right. I think I got Reminders of Him right, and I think I got Undertone right. Goat and Scream 7 might be a little off. But anyway, Hoppers has a really good, not even really good, a fantastic second weekend. Dropping only 37.2%, making 28.5 million. Reminders of Him debuts with 18.2 million. Undertone debuts with 9.3 million, number 3 spot. Scream 7 in number 4 spot, dropping surprisingly an okay amount the second week, 50.9% for 8.3 million. And then Goat, man, at 4.7 million. So Hoppers is going to be, I mean, it's not the big thing to be talking about because now we're going to have Project Hail Mary this week. Ready or Not, the Pout Pout Fish is another animated film that I've completely forgotten about. And to be fair, I don't know how many people know about the Pout Pout Fish. I only just saw a trailer for it attached to this. And honestly, it didn't look terrible. Honestly, it looks like it's based off like a Dr. Seuss character or something like that, which I don't think it is. But I'll be honest, I don't know how many people are going to know about the Pout Pout Fish. I will try to see the Pout Pout Fish. It's all going to be dependent on how many theaters this thing is getting. If it's not available for me to see, obviously I can't go see it. But if it comes on a streaming service that I have, I'll do my best in the long run to see it. Anyway, the Hoppers made another 27-ish million dollars this week, dropping 37 some odd percent. Look, those are great numbers, especially for a film that didn't open strong. And I mean, it opened at a little over $45 million. That's not inherently bad, but for a movie made on 150 million, that's not good. What is good is this thing it took not even a 40% drop. That tells you that people are going back to see it, they're liking it, they're bringing people with them. And I think it stems from two different things. One, it's a solid film. It's a solid film. I got my review for it up. There are aspects of the film I do not like. I do not love our main character. I think maybe I was a little harsh on her in the original review, maybe just a little. But she is not the most likable character at points. She really isn't. But she's also got things about her that I really do enjoy and did like about her. Again, the scenes with her grandmother legitimately choked me up. I did have to fight tears and kind of like go, like clear my throat, like, whoo, like I was feeling the feels. And I think that ending, that last scene, is really sweet. I really do like that. Otherwise, it's kind of a mix and match of things going on in there. There's things I definitely like. I overall enjoy the first and third act. The second act kind of drags a little bit though. But regardless, I believe the reviews are pretty solid for this, and this shows that people are going back to see it, which is good. I just wish it opened higher because Disney kind of needs some wins right now. I mean, they didn't actually have a bad year. In fact, I believe they were the second most profitable theater last year, according to my numbers. But if a couple films had crapped out at the box office, they would have been the most profitable. If those two Marvel films had actually made some money, they would have been in the profitable range. Anyway, so there's that. But the other reason this film is probably getting such a good such good traction right now, probably because of the fact that it's the new animated film on the block. There is nothing else except for Goat that's been out for how many weeks now? What was it again for the amount of weeks? Oh, in its fifth week. Now the Pout Pout Fish could be a contender because I forgot the Pout Pout Fish was even coming out. I mentioned that Mario Brothers movie, Super Mario Bros. Galaxy, was the next big animated film on the block. And technically it is. It's still the next big animated film on the block, are coming out. But the Pout Pout Fish is an animated film. But honestly, watching it, I did get Ruby Gillman vibes. Do you remember that Teenage Kraken Ruby Gillman vibes? Vibes. Do you remember those vibes? Do you remember the movie Ruby Gillman Teenage Kraken? That was a movie that kind of just came and went like a fart in the wind, did not do very well. That's the kind of vibes I'm getting off Pout Pout Fish. And that was an okay film. It was a perfectly serviceable film, which means the Pout Pout Fish may be a perfectly serviceable film too. As it stands, though, Hoppers currently stands at about $160-ish million. I could just go back and check. Why don't I do that? $164 million in its second week, which, you know what? Look, that's far better than where could have been. It was like around 80 some odd million last week. Not a good start. Not the greatest start anyway. But at 160 million, we now have hit the point where it's at least hit the production budget. The marketing budget, though, is still going to be adding on to this. Now, I don't know what the marketing budget for this film is. Based on what I remember seeing, it actually probably isn't a lot. I doubt it's not 100 million. I could guarantee that. I'm going to guess somewhere between 60 and 75. So why don't we just round it up to about 65 million? That's what my guess is going to be. Which would mean this film is made on $215 million, which means if you do the math, the film still has to hit somewhere in the neighborhood of almost a little around 300 million. If the film can hit 300 million, I think they'll call it a wash. They'll call it, or they'll say it's a break even. Call it a wash, break even. Until I can find the actual numbers on it, that's what I'm going to estimate. Now, if the film has some legs, like it looks like it's going to end up having, hopefully, maybe it can hit beyond that. If it's like 350, I will say it broke even. It's profitable at that point. Unfortunately, it's just animated films are a little hit and miss. Original animated films are a bit more hit and miss than sequels. And if you want proof of that, just look at the last two Pixar films that came out from Disney. As you know, well, the last Pixar film was Inside Out, which was, at the time, the highest grossing animated film of all time. And now we just have Disney classic animated films. Not classic, but just straight Disney animation, which are two separate companies. With Zootopia 2, which is currently the highest animated film of all time. Nissan 2 is not. Moving on from that. I will always say that because I'm going to, someone's going to bring it up if I don't. But what about Nissan 2? What about it? What about it? It's like, well, it says, yeah, that's a load of crap. Anyway. So, Hoppers, look, right now we don't know where Hoppers is going to Hopefully, it's got a good landing. And at least it's on track. It's got a good drop off to it. So at least it's got that going for it. Reminders of Him made $18.2 million. I do not know what this film is made on. I could check maybe, but I'm not gonna. I'm gonna guess it's low though. So to have an opening weekend worldwide of 28 million on what's probably a low budget, somewhere between, my guess would be 20 to 30 million at most. That's pretty solid. And this film did not have a heavy marketing budget at all. You're looking at maybe 20 million max. So at its highest production marketing budget combination, you're looking at about 50 million. And that's highest. More than likely, you're actually looking at something probably closer to about 40 million total, maybe even less, depending on what the actual production was. Because honestly, this looks like one of those films that could be made on 10 million bucks. Because honestly, I might be even, I'm thinking on that, that'd probably make more sense. 10 to 15 million. I mean, no, there's hardly a big enough name to really warrant a huge cast. You got the guy from Him, but that's, I don't think, is a good showcase of what this guy could do as an actor. Because, oof. Because, man, that movie's not good. That was my worst film of the year last year. But yeah, I mean, if it is like more like 10 million, like I'm thinking, and you factor maybe a $20 million budget, well, now you're looking at a film that just has to hit 45 to break even. And I might be pushing on the 25 or 20 million, to be honest, for the marketing budget. So either way, good number to start with. Absolutely. I don't know what it's, let's get the Rotten Tomatoes up here. I don't know what this opened up on, or Undertone. I think Undertone had a decent opening weekend rating. But let's find out, shall we? Let's see. I hate when I always hate when a site is just being slow. There we go. Let's see here. Okay, Reminders of Him. Oh, that didn't have it. Audience likes it. 90%. Critics did not love it. But continuing on, 93% for Hoppers. So yeah, Hoppers has got a great rating, and 94% from the audience. Undertone, though, actually did not have a good rating from the audience. The critics liked it a lot more than the audience liked it. 76% from the critics, but only 52% from the audience. That's interesting. That's one of those cases where you can actually see the disparity between what critics think and what the audience thinks. Because remember, I'm not saying we have to be kind, we have to at least be understanding that critics, or as critical as they can be, and maybe have been doing it so long that they fall into maybe patterns of thought, that maybe are or are not warranted. They are still movie fans. They got into this because they are movie fans, and they just happen to be paid to do it. But they now see literally almost every movie that comes out. So it's one of those things where it's like any job. You could get burnt out on it. And therefore, maybe you don't always agree. Or maybe you're seeing something that doesn't quite gel. So with the grand opinion. So yeah, interesting to see it at least. Which means Reminders of Him will probably do fairly well long term. Speaking of Undertow, 9.3 million domestic / worldwide right now. It's an A24 film, which does mean it could have a budget that is much higher than you think. But given the type of movie it is, I would not go so far as to say, I wouldn't be shocked to say that it has probably in the teen level budget, maybe 20 million. And look, the trailer, I give the trailers credit. The trailers were creepy. It's not my cup of tea, but I don't see horror movies all the time. I will see them if they're kind of like the big thing coming out. But even then, it has to at least be a topic I'm interested in. Because if it's not a topic I'm interested in, then you're just not going to get a good review out of me. There's movies I have just not done a review on because I'm like, or not seen because what you're just going to get me just saying, yeah, it's okay. This was good. She was good. I like this scene. All right. But no, I want to at least be, whether I liked it or hated it, I want to be animated about it. So yeah, Scream 7. One of the big stories going on right now, dropped about 50%, which is at least better than last week's drop. Holy crap. Over 70%. So made $8.3 million this week. Worldwide stands at $176 million, which means it is going to become the highest grossing film of the franchise. Based on everything I've heard, it is also the worst film of the franchise. In fact, one of the worst films of the year, and maybe one of the worst films of all time, depending who you ask. Hopefully they maybe don't take the wrong lessons from this. Like, they liked more of this. Let's do this in the 8th movie. Hold on, guys. But look, it's like, look, they made their money back on this. They make these films on a relative cheap budget. Like, I don't think you've ever seen one of these films go above, say, $50 million for its budget, which is why they're able to rake in a profit on these things. It's a relatively easy franchise to film. I think probably a lot of that budget went to bringing Neve Campbell back, let's be honest, and probably Courtney Cox. So, I mean, yeah, good for him. Now, unfortunately, and this is not a spoiler for a now 4-year-old movie, Dewey's dead. So eventually, I'm assuming Courtney's going to die. Courtney Cox's character's going to die. I don't remember her name. Gail. That's right. Gail, I think it is. I think Gail's going to probably be dead at one of these at some point because Courtney Cox is going to want to have this. And Neve Campbell, I assume, maybe will go up in a blaze of glory. But yeah, whatever. So Scream 7. I have heard the general pretense of Scream 7 and the reveal of who the Ghostface killer is. And I have to admit, like, wow, they really are just scraping the bottom of the barrel for reasons to have people be Ghostface. Anyway, so I mean, look, but as much as this was, I kind of did want to go out and see it, but I think that was the same week that was the same week The Bride came out. And I was definitely seeing, no, it wasn't the same week The Bride came out. It was the week prior to that. So what came out? Scream 7. Did I even go out and see a movie that week? I can't remember. Anyway, so look, as much as I'm not loving Paramount right now, I am not. I think their CEO needs to get his shit together. He needs to not be associated with our president. Let's be honest. Let's be fair. And I'm talking about that from like a business perspective more than anything else. Like you should not be associated with that man who's historically gone bankrupt how many times? Not to mention all the other legal crap that goes on with him and you know, just a bad look. And so the fact that you are, you know, in some level of cahoots with him on some level, it's just not a good look from any business perspective when you really break it down. Not to mention that he has not been running Paramount well already, and now he's trying to buy Warner Brothers. I have heard that his first meeting with Warner Brothers didn't go well, so it's very possible this deal doesn't go through still. The people talking about, I guess I'm going into it now. Some people don't seem to know that the Warner Brothers Paramount deal is not set in stone yet. It's not. They still got to go through, like, you know, meetings, like, they won the bid, but now they got to cement the bid. Now they got to make it so, okay, You're the bidder, but now you got to show to us why we should actually sell this to you. We liked your offer. Now let's hear what you got planned. And from everything I heard, that first meeting did not go well. And if I'm going to be honest, that makes me happy because I'd rather Warner Brothers just exist as Warner Brothers. Because if Paramount gets Warner Brothers, they're going to gut and strip that fucking company. They've even said that so much. They've even talked about what their plans for HBO is when they haven't even got one really solidified the deal. They're going to gut it. They're going to take HBO, put it into Paramount, which is no, fuck you. I don't want to pay for Paramount if you're going to just do that. Basically, just get rid of HBO, the HBO name, basically. They're going to do a whole bunch of layoffs. So that's why I was like rooting for Netflix, because Netflix said, no, we're not going to do any of that crap. So why would we do that? Like, and all that happened was, like, I think the deal was a little bit, Paramount made the deal like a little bit sweeter. And that Netflix basically said, look, we want it for the right price, not any price. This is not the right price anymore. So they backed out. But yeah, truth be told, if Paramount gets it, that also means less movies, because it's kind of like the 20th Century Fox Disney thing. Disney does make movies under the 20th Century Studio label, but they are Disney movies. And now you would have Warner Brothers and Paramount together, and like that's just going to cut down the amount of movies. I'd rather have Warner Brothers separate, at least for time being. Netflix would have been a different. Netflix is not one of the big studio players on the board, so they could have kept Warner Brothers mostly intact and still had Warner Brothers films come out. Match made in heaven. Not to mention too, James Gunn. If this deal were to go through, I guarantee you, James Gunn's gone at Paramount. So this DC universe that we're just starting to build up ends probably with Superman 2, Man of Tomorrow, because he is very outspoken about his political beliefs and does not like Donald Trump and does not like people associated with Donald Trump. So, yeah, if this were to go through, there's no amount of money that's going to save that contract. He's going to want either one out of his contract, or just his contract apparently is up next year, so he'll just run that down into the ground, be like, okay, it's gone. I made my movies. Done. And that's not to say maybe they wouldn't get someone else to run DC. It's just, I really loved Superman. I think it's a good reboot to a universe, and I would like them to continue that. So if I'm going to be honest, I hope that after that bad meeting, they just say it's not going to work out. Thanks, thanks for all this, but you know what? Just not on the board. And then maybe in a year or two, they go back after, because Paramount stock is also in the trash too. After Paramount maybe just annexes these two guys, these guys who are like running the business, they would go back and be like, okay, let's try this again. Who would like to buy us? And then maybe Netflix comes and is like, all right, is the same offer on the table before? It's like, I'd imagine it probably, that being said, that'd be a year or two from now. Maybe Netflix can afford more. So maybe they buy Warner Brothers again, who knows, and maybe this time it goes through. Because if Paramount tries again, it's like, this time it's like, no, just no. This time they would just flat out reject them. So yeah, since I brought it up, that's where I'm at with that. So I don't like the people at Paramount right now, the heads up of Paramount, like the guys are running it. But look, I'm a movie fan. I want movies to succeed, even if they're not the best, because it gives us a healthy box office environment, a healthy movie-going environment, or healthier, I should say. And that's what keeps movies going in this environment. So if a movie's succeeding, that is good regardless of how good or bad it is. So congratulations to Screen 7. GOAT, talking about movies that should be succeeding. Hey, it's at 162 million. It's still not profitable, but it's at 162 million. Man, I wanted this film to do better. I actually really enjoyed this film. It's basic. It's just a basic sports underdog story, or undergoat story in this case. But I had a good time with it. It had some fun animation. It's very much in the vein of the Spider-Verse, but with some slight variation. Like Spider-Verse does Zootopia. That's kind of what this whole movie was. But the fact that it keeps hanging around, not just making a little bit of money, but even in the top 5, shows that people are still going back to watch the movie. So that at least gives me some good feels. And maybe when it goes on streaming, you'll find a second life on streaming, and then people may want a sequel or a different movie like this. And it's funny, because for the longest time, Sony was in the shit. I was always paying attention to how well Sony was doing. Now, it's the opposite. I got to keep paying attention to how well Paramount's doing. Because Paramount even with the little extra they were making off of one of their films last year going into this year, they were still down about $500 million, maybe a little under that, in their movie division in terms of the amount of money they made. They lost over $500 million. That's not good business. Lionsgate was also into shit, but nowhere near as bad. And honestly, I think they ended up breaking even thanks to The Housemaid, which was like a sleeper hit into the new year. It really was. In fact, hold on. I think I got my book here somewhere where I wrote down the what everything did last year for the box office. All right, where is it? Can I find it? Okay. Oh, wait a minute. Yep, Thunderbolts. So, okay. Not factoring in the adjustments I ultimately made. It was Paramount had lost. Holy crap. I thought I said $500 million. I misspoke, folks. I'm sorry. They lost up until they started making a little bit of money back. In fact, what was the movie that was making them some money? SpongeBob. SpongeBob was quietly making them a little bit of extra money throughout the remaining of the year. But $741 million is what I roughly count. So maybe they ended up losing about $700 million. That's well over $500 million they lost in their movie divisions alone. Sony did lose last year. They just didn't have a good year last year. It happens. It happens to the best of us. Anaconda, though, did turn out to be a little bit more profitable, so that helped. But they had lost like 120. Lionsgate had lost about 107 million, but then The Housemaid ultimately. What was the last calc I had on The Housemaid? Last calc I had on The Housemaid was about. Seriously, where is the number? Last calc I had on The Housemaid was like at 177. But the movie went on to make like 340 some odd million, 56 some odd million dollars. So if I do the math real quick on that, take the third out, minus the budget, which was nothing, which was like 55, you're actually looking at a film that made somewhere in the neighborhood of, sorry, I'm just doing the math real quick in my head here, of about 240, so like 195 profit, which based on this number means that it not only was able to get out of the negative, it actually went very well into the positive on the amount of money it actually made for the year. About $95 million for this movie division. So yeah, hats off to Lionsgate for that, for actually doing a come from behind victory. Mind you, though, they still couldn't compete with either Disney or Universal. Disney, thanks to Avatar and Zootopia, went on to make somewhere in the neighborhood of like 600 million plus. Universal made 500, and like Warner Brothers still had the best year, like over 800 million. Honestly, if Warner Brothers hadn't had one or two losses, they actually would have made out with like over $1 billion in profit just from the movies. So we'll see what happens with GOAT long term. I mean, it's already in its fifth week. It is now we got another anime film with the Pout Pout Fish coming out. It is losing steam fast, but it's still got good week to week drop offs. Week 2 for The Bride, man. Not as large as Scream 7, but Scream 7 opened at 60 some odd million dollars. The Bride only opened at 7, barely over 7. It dropped 70%. Man, you want to talk about a hit? Because this movie's made on like $90 million. You got to factor probably about 50 million at least in the marketing, because it was supposed to come out in October last year, and they pushed it off. I'm not quite sure why. Oh, because of Guillermo del Toro's Frankenstein, like comparing, like I could maybe see that. There's a little bit of chill in here. Hold on, sleep my sweater. I'm sure it's not even that I can't function. It's just like, it's just that annoying level. It's just enough to be annoying. There we go. That's better. But yeah, I gave my reasons for why the film didn't do well. I like the film. Me and my girlfriend both agree we like the film, but on letting it sit with us for a while, it was not as good as we had hoped. It was not, and it gets weird. It really does get weird. Like, and not even in a fun way, just a like, what are we doing right now way. So there's that. By the way, if you just saw a light like pop on, that's because I had to plug my snake light in. It's been warm enough that I actually haven't done do it. He's a corn snake, so he's actually really good at climate or with temperate climate, even a little bit of chill. But yeah, no, he needs his light on. It's a little too cold in here. But yeah, pushing it off from October was probably a mistake. They were different enough movies that I don't think they would have hurt each other at all. Plus, Guillermo's Frankenstein was coming out only in limited release in theaters, not long term. It was going more to Netflix after the fact. I got lucky. Me and my girlfriend got lucky enough to see it in theaters, and we loved it. We watched it here. We loved it here. But I think that was a mistake. Just like the Mortal Kombat thing, moving that up 7 months was an insane mistake, I think. We'll have to wait and see if that was truly a mistake or not. We will have to wait and see. Maybe it was actually the smart move. But I'm sorry, you were building up so much momentum on that man, you cut the feet out from under you. Cut the feet out from under you. Unfortunately, the bride's just not going to make its money back. The most it can hope for is just to soften the loss, because that right now at 26 million worldwide, take a third out from it, it's maybe about 20 million. That means if you factor in that, if I'm right, at a $50 million marketing budget, if I'm right on that, you're looking at a film that's 140 million. That means this film has lost $120 million. That's the kind of thing people get fired over. Now, luckily, Warner Brothers had such a good year last year that I think they can handle a couple losses, to be fair, but still. We got Kiki's Delivery Service and a re-release, 2026 re-release. I don't know if this is an anniversary or something. Same with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Secret of the Ooze. Anyway, I'll move over to more of Wuthering Heights real quick. $226 million. Made only like 104 million or 104, like 1.4 million this week. But look, it's profitable at this point. I don't think anyone can argue that. It's profitable at this point. And I think I've said all I can on it at this point. It is the highest grossing film of the year, not taking into consideration foreign films, which if we go to the worldwide right now, I believe a film called Pegasus 3 is the highest grossing film worldwide at $531 million. You also have a movie called Scare Out and Boonie Bears, The Hidden Protector. Cool. It's an anime film. Be careful. This might be a billion-some-dollar film coming here. Here's the thing, though. I look at these, and I don't. Blades of the Guardians. Interesting. I look at these, and I am much more accepting of these numbers for like the Chinese audience, all that, because China is still a country of well over 1 billion people. So if all of them are going to the theater for these, then I can still justify a number like that. It's when you get one animated film that is a sequel to another animated film. And in fact, hold on, let's Niza. There we go, Niza. There you are. I think I looked it up the original time. The original Niza, the original one from 2019, made $726 million. Now I can see it being, very successful, all that, but you're trying to tell me that the sequel made $2,260 million when, let's be fair, a large chunk of China probably doesn't even have access to movie theaters, because there's plenty of rural areas where a giant chunk of those billion people live. Not to mention, even if you doubled it, that would still only put at 1.4 billion, which, you know what, I could theoretically accept that number. Again, I could accept that number. But you're telling me it tripled that. I'm sorry. I gotta call bullshit on that. I think most people are calling bullshit on that. Or anyone who is, anyone who's got any sort of critical thinking has to go, I'm sorry, that's what? No. Because if you're not going to hear by the same systems that we do when it comes to actually properly gauging our movies, then I can't believe a word you say when it comes to your movies. Sorry for anybody who, by the way, is from China who watches me, but I'm just saying, if you're the odd man out with the way you're rating your movies, it doesn't matter if yours is technically the right way or not. The universal system is how everyone else is gauging theirs. Therefore, if you aren't going to adhere to that, then you shouldn't be on the list. Or there should be like a big asterisk next to your name. So, yeah, sorry. Crime 101 made 1.1 million. 66 again, another film that just, I think Amazon really needs to understand how to balance their budgets for their movies, because unfortunately it's another film that, from what I heard, was really good. I never got around to seeing it, but it was really good. But just didn't do enough. And now, unfortunately, it was made on just a really large budget. I can only imagine 2, about 750,000. Not, as far as I can tell, it just didn't do well enough. The Elvis Presley in concerts experience, Send Help, made 700 grand. 93, it's still not profitable. Avatar: Fire and Ash made just under 500,000. Again, it's done its run. Let's see here. And then the last one to talk about is Zootopia 2, which is also guaranteed done its run. It's done its run as well. Oh, and Anaconda got a re-release for an extra, 999 screens? What did they think was going to happen? Why would you give it to them? I mean, don't get me wrong. I liked Anaconda. It was fun, but I needed more Anaconda in a movie about Anaconda. So, yeah. Anyway, we got this week. And this week got a lot of films coming out in terms of wide release that could actually be on the box office charts. Project Hail Mary, I think we're all going to agree, is going to be number 1. I think that's a given. Ready or Not is going to be wide release, despite what it says. Ready or Not 2, Here I Come, is going to be wide release. At least I believe that's what it's going to be. Because it comes out the same week, I think. Hold on. Let's see here. Pow Pow Fish, Ready or Not, Here I Come too. Let's see. I know They Will Kill You is coming out near the end of the month. Where are they? The Forbidden Fruits, She Dances, Our Hero, yes. Mark, I don't know what that is. John Lake, Continental, Bring Me to Horizon, Vampires. Where's the movie They Will Kill You? I'm missing something here, because there's a movie coming out this month called They Will Kill You with Zazie Beetz that me and my girlfriend really want to go watch. That looks like it's just going to be a huge amount of fun. But I'm not seeing it. Hold on. They Will Kill You. Will kill you. Okay, They Will Kill You, 2026. Okay, when's it supposed to come out? March 27th. Okay, so why am I not seeing it on the list? So it's not coming out this week. So why am I not seeing it on the release for March 27th? Unless I missed it. Oh, there. Oh, wow. It was just blended in there. That's why. Okay, so we got Ready or Not 2. We got Project Hail Mary, and we got the Pout Pout Fish. Project Hail Mary, number 1. I think that's a safe bet right there. Ready or Not 2 is based off a movie that, what did the first one do? And whether or not, here we come. Let's see, Ready or Not. What did the original one do? Because it will at least give us kind of a get. 7 years later, though, that's a long time. I mean, okay, so even if it does open to like twice the amount, which it very well could, it's not going to be number 2, I don't think. I think Hoppers actually still remains number 2. And you might be saying, well, why Hoppers over the Pout Pout Fish? It's a new animated film. Because unfortunately, I get the Ruby Gillman vibes off of this one. Now, Ruby Gillman. All right, oh, there we go. Ruby Gillman, what did that open on? Like, that only made 45 minutes, opened at $5 million. Okay, I think the Pout Pout Fish might do a little better than that. But, yeah, I get Ruby Gillman vibes from the Pout Pout Fish in terms of what it's ultimately going to do. So, Ready or Not, Hoppers. Ooh, okay. Ready or Not 2. Sorry, Project Hail Mary, Hoppers. Ready or Not 2. Ooh, I'll go Pout Pout Fish. And definitely reminders of him after that. Oh, this is going to be an interesting week because we got 3 relatively sizable releases coming. Anyway, I digress. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. I'll see you for the next one.